For the rest of America, does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
Nah. Next question. I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with Nebraska farmer talk, but they are getting exactly what they voted for. Nebraskan farmers overwhelmingly supported and voted for Donald Trump. The same Donald Trump who ran a campaign with one of the biggest promises being the deportation of illegal immigrants. Mind you, most of the people who work on their farms are illegal immigrants. So now, months after the open book test, they're finally starting to study, and they're realizing that if Trump implements his mass deportation plan, they are going to lose a majority of their workers. And if they lose a majority of their workers and their fields become as empty as a J-Lo concert, they will go bankrupt. Well, so now they're on here crying and complaining about how they're going to lose their farms, and nobody seems to care. I'm going to hold your hand with a napkin in between when I say this. We don't care because you showed that you don't care first. You are getting exactly what you voted for. Trump was very loud about his plans for mass deportation, but because your brain is as smooth as satin and your last two brain cells are fighting for 10th place, you weren't able to put two and two together. So now they're on here crying and complaining to us, asking us why we don't care that they're about to have concept of a farm. Stink-a-butt, what do you want us to do? Have you considered pulling yourself up by your bootstraps? Maybe round up your couslings, your sister wives, your husbands. Y'all work in the farms. Unfortunately, there's been a tariff placed on thoughts and prayers, so I don't have those for you, but I did write a song for you. Old Nebraskans had a farm. ADIOS. Hope this. Peace and love.
That live in Nebraska. You voted for Trump knowing that 70% of your workforce on your farms are migrants. Now, apparently, Nebraska is 6 months away from bankruptcy. Still voted for the mass deportation of 70% of your workforce on your farms, and now are complaining that your farms and your livelihood will not survive it.
We don't care. We don't care because Nebraska let their racism get in the way of their votes, and that's why they voted for Trump. Oh, you guys are going to deport all the Mexicans? I vote for Trump. And they forgot who the was supposed to work on their shit. You think a white man's going to come plot your farm and stuff? Absolutely not. You think a black man? Absolutely not. We ain't stepping near a motherfucking field. So who else did you think was going to do it? You see what racism got you? Because why else did you vote for Trump? Did you honestly think he was going to help y'all? You're not rich enough for him. Trump is only out here to help the rich, not y'all. May you guys in Nebraska have the day you deserve.
So Nebraska farmers are in a crisis, and it's all because of the decision they made. They voted for the man who promised to crack down on immigration. And now that he's keeping that promise, they're the ones suffering. Their farm workers, the one who made their businesses run, were deported. And now they can't afford American labor. The result? Bankruptcy, panic and desperation. And now, after backing policies that hurt them, they are carrying on the rest of America for help. But here is the real question. What do black folks think about all of this? Because for years, these same Nebraskans haven't exactly stood with them when they faced economic struggles. Now that the tables have turned, are black Americans feeling sympathetic? Or it's a classic case of you reap what you sow? I've gathered some videos of black Americans sharing their own thoughts about this situation, and trust me, you're going to want to hear what they have to say. And let's get into it.
Why are we supposed to care about Nebraska, and Nebraska didn't care about Nebraska? How could Nebraska vote against their best interests by voting for mass deportation of their workforce? And I was saying, why would you purposely go to get rid of your workforce and not have a backup plan for the people that you're getting rid of, especially if your business is relying on that workforce? Your hatred can't be that blinding and that overwhelming that you can't think about your bottom line. especially when it comes to your businesses. Some of these farms have been in those people's families for over 300 years. You can't tell me you did not think about who is going to come in and replace these vital workers for your survival. One thing I do keep thinking back on is Trump kept saying during this campaign that the illegals were here stealing the blacks' jobs. He just kept harping on the black jobs, and everybody was like, what the hell is a black job? Well, this is just my perspective, or it's just my thought. I'm thinking that the Virginians and all the rest of the people who were depending on illegal immigrants for their labor, they kept hearing Trump saying that the black people jobs were being taken. I'm thinking in their minds, they were hearing Trump saying the black people are going to come back to those jobs. In my mind, I'm thinking they were hearing Trump says the black people are going to replace all those immigrants out in the fields and on the farms and all of that. I'm thinking that's what they were hearing. That's why they weren't messed up about voting to get rid of their illegal immigrants. They were thinking that the black people were going to step up and take those jobs back, because Trump kept saying these illegal immigrants are stealing the blacks' jobs. And therefore, in their mind, they heard we were getting our 1,800 slaves back. They had to have thought that their backup plan, Trump was going to miraculously, somehow, magically put all the black people back out in those fields, on those farms, and they were going to continue to get their work done. Now, that's just my thinking, because you cannot tell me that you as a business owner would get rid of your workforce and not have a backup plan. You are not going to knowingly and willingly walk into a bankruptcy, walk into losing your business, walk into losing your farms that have been in your family for 300 years unless you thought there was a backup plan. And the backup plan was supposed to be the blacks. That's why y'all ran out there and voted against your best interest, because when you heard Donald Trump said they were stealing the blacks' jobs, y'all in your twisted mind thought that the blacks were going to magically appear back in those positions. The blacks were just going to be coming from everywhere to take on those positions. You had to have thought that, because y'all not going to tell me that in your minds you were okay with losing your livelihoods, that you didn't have a backup plan to come in after the immigrants would be deported. You can't convince me that people who own those farms and worked on those farms, you cannot tell me that you looked out there and saw your workforce, and you know what your workforce is made up of, and you purposely went out there and said, yeah, get rid of all of them, with no backup plan. You know what it takes to run your farms. You know how many people it takes to run your farms. There is no way you got rid of all of those people and did not expect to have somebody to come in and pick up the slack. Y'all thought y'all were getting slaves back. You had to have thought that. You had to have thought black people were going to be the ones replacing the immigrants, and you would not miss a beat. But when those immigrants fled and those fields became empty and those farms became deserted, then y'all want to run around crying, does anybody care about Nebraska? Does anybody care about Nebraska? No. Let's go back. What was your thought process as to when the immigrants go, when they deport them? What was your thought process on who was going to come in and pick up that slack? Because 60% of y'all went out there and voted for Trump. So what was that 60% thinking? What was your plan B? For when the immigrants are gone, who was going to come in, step in, and pick up that workload and get your bottom and keep your bottom line moving? What was that thought process? Who were the replacements for the illegal immigrants that you guys went and voted against? Who were the replacements? You guys thought it was going to be black people. Y'all thought Donald Trump was going to magically make black people appear in y'all farms and on y'all fields to get their work done. Why? I have no idea. Other than he kept saying that they were taking the black jobs. Y'all thought that just because he said that, black people were going to be running down there to them fields? It's absolutely bizarre. You can't convince me y'all put everything, your whole life, y'all whole livelihood, generations of farms being in y'all family. You can't tell me you put that up at risk and did not have a backup plan. You can't tell me y'all purposely destroyed y'all lives and y'all farms without having a backup plan to replace the illegals. It's just not making sense. But racism never has made sense. Guys, these are some really eye-opening times we're dealing with. And another thing I want to touch on before I leave today. President Musk is really working hard to get up under the black people's skin. He's trying to find a button to push to make us hit them streets. Now he wants the government to stop funding, to stop the lease for the Obama Library. And he also wants the United States government to sell our National Black Museum, one of our National Black Museums. I think it was the Montgomery Boys bus. Something to do with that. I think that's what it was. So do you see what they're doing? When the threat to pardon Derek Chauvin did nothing, now they're going for other intricacies that they know black people hold near and dear, which is telling us they are going to keep nitpicking until they can think they can get us out there. No matter what they do not give them what they're looking for. I don't care what they do at this point, but it needs to be seen the extremes they're going to go to.
Now look at all these red states running bankrupt. Just a few months back, they were telling us that the Jose's were stealing their jobs, so they needed their jobs back. And the jobs are back, but no one wants to do them. So what do you want us to do? This is sad, but funny at the same time. Because Trump told you, he warned you at the beginning that he's going to deport everything. And you guys knew all your workers, all your employees were undocumented. But still, you voted for the person who said he was going to take them or deport them. And now you're on social media crying. You're on the news crying. Like, come on, man.
Hope you're getting what you wanted. Hey, Trumpers. Hope you're getting what you wanted. How about Nebraska? Then the bitch said up about, don't nobody care about Nebraska. You right, bitch, nobody care about Nebraska. You didn't care about Nebraska, so why the fuck should I care about Nebraska? Bitch, I'm in California. What the fuck do I give a fuck about Nebraska for? You racist motherfuckers knew that 65% of your workforce is illegal, and y'all voted to get rid of the illegal people in your fucking country. I mean, in your fucking state. That just goes to show you, you motherfuckers would rather burn this whole motherfucking thing down than to share this fucking country with everybody. This is supposed to be a melting pot. And while you guys are all talking about letting people come here the right way, did your grandfathers and your grandmothers, your great-great-grandmothers, did they get here the right way? No, bitch, they just showed up and started claiming land. That's what you bitches did, because you're nothing but thieves. Always have been, always will be. A thief.
Now, there is a whole community of black farmers in the US. But have you noticed something? Throughout this entire crisis in Nebraska, we haven't heard a word from them. No complaints, no opinions, no reaction, just silence. And it makes you wonder, don't we have black farmers in the country? Why haven't we heard anything from them? Well, there's something deeper going on here. That's why exactly I'm going to play a video of this white lady trying to give us a strong message about the reason why those black farmers have decided to remain silent. Please, I want you to just watch this video, and trust me, this is something that you don't want to miss.
You know, I'm seeing all these videos right now where all these farmers are crying about not getting no help right now. You know what? Let me ask you something. When have you ever heard of a black farmer crying about it? Never. And you want to know why? Because they ain't never got no help in the first place. That's right. USDA is literally admitted to discriminating against black farmers. And literally black farmers had to sue, thousands of them, to get what white farmers are handed for free. And fast forward to today, all these farmers crying that they can't get no help. You see, black farmers, they've been struggling. Y'all just now feeling what they've been feeling for over 100 years. Black farmers, they used to own over 19 million acres of land. Guess what? Systematic racism, denied loans, shady politicians, and legal loopholes wiped them all out. Yeah. And now they're 1% of America's farmland. When the government finally tried to pass relief for the black folk back in 2021, white farmers sued to block it, claimed it was reverse discrimination. Make that make sense. So, you know, next time you see folks complaining about farm aid, why don't you ask them, where's the help for the black farmers? Ask them why their struggle is just now important when others have been suffering for centuries.
First things first, these farmers cannot act surprised. They knew exactly what they were signing up for. Trump campaigned on deporting undocumented workers, and instead of thinking about how that would affect their businesses, they just ate it up. Why? Because for a lot of them, the idea of getting rid of migrants mattered more than their own economic survival. And now, farms are shutting down, crops are rotting, and their bank accounts are screaming for help. The funniest part, they are now begging the government for assistance, the same government they didn't want helping anyone else. And from what I've seen, when black farmers in America were struggling with discrimination, land laws, and unfair policies, nobody cared. But now that the Nebraska farmers are feeling the heat, they suddenly expect sympathy. Now let's be real, black folks in America are not exactly feeling sorry for these farmers. And why would they? From what I've seen, Nebraska ain't been a stronghold of allyship when it comes to black people's struggles. When black communities in America were dealing with economic struggles, racist policies, and government neglect, they were told to put themselves up by the bootstrap. Where now that these Nebraska farmers are struggling, those same bootstraps seem to be missing. One group that have been silent through all of these, black farmers in America. You'd be thinking that they would be jumping in to offer their own thoughts. But nope, they are sitting back, watching and probably sipping some tea. Because here is the thing, black farmers already knew how this was going to play out. They have been through it. They have been shut out of loans, denied land, and ignored by the same government. These Nebraska farmers are crying too for help. So while these farmers are running around panicking, black farmers are just chilling. Like, this is not something new to us. Now, at the end of the day, this is a teachable moment. voting against your own interest just to earn a lips or keep a certain group out of the country? Yeah, that backfires. Trump told them what he was going to do, and they still voted for him, and now they are suffering the consequences of their own choices. Look, I don't wish harm on anybody, but I do believe in accountability. And if you willingly vote for policies that hurt you, you don't get to play victim when those policies start doing exactly what they were designed to do. Now, let me know what you all think in the comments. Do you all feel bad for these farmers? Or this is the karma doing its job? Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch up you all in the next one. Ciao.